Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Fazbear Entertainment would like you to put your hands together for the one, the only, Freddy Fazbear.
Rewritten! Hey everyone, this will probably be the last time that I, put a thing in front of the episode to warn you about stuff, except we had this similar problem with Chapter 13 last week, so this is Chapter 14, not Chapter 13. I tried on a new thing where, it uploads the episode at a certain time whenever I schedule it, except for some reason that meant that some people didn't get notifications, so if you also missed it last week, then you have to go to the episode before this, because this is Chapter 14, and it opens up on a bunch of spoilers for Chapter 13 and Chapter 12, so sorry about all of this, but I just wanted to make sure that everyone was in the right place. And also, while I'm here, I want to explain that I also made a mistake. So, I accidentally misspoke in the last episode where I was talking about the chest captivity. It's actually chest cavity. I apparently spelled it correctly on the Word document, but whenever I recorded, I said captivity instead of cavity, so please don't make fun of me. That was an accident. It wasn't actually written like that. I know which words I'm supposed to be using. I just didn't catch it until the episode was out, so pretend you didn't see anything. Don't make fun of me. Okay, anyway, bye. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Sorry for misspeaking and also trying out a new way to upload stuff. I hope nobody missed it last week. Otherwise, it would seem like I didn't even post. The mall's quiet was being absolutely destroyed by the footsteps of the animatronics that surrounded him. They all had the same padded feet, so it wasn't as loud as it could be, but the fact that there were 6 of them was making it much worse. Every movement that they made sent a series of clatters through their bodies, no matter how slowly they let their feet down. They had stayed behind in parts and services for a little while trying to get DJ's collar off, but ultimately realized that it was about as thick as the wheel of a car and wasn't breaking unless they also broke DJ's neck. Right now, the huge animatronic seemed to be enjoying his freedom from the tunnels, stretching out his legs and staring around at everything with wonder that didn't quite match the situation. He was unfortunately the one that made the most noise. His footfalls were muffled by his soft gloves, but his piston-filled inner workings were hissing and cranking to let him move around, making about as much noise as a trolley. Gregory just kept out of DJ's way, still unsure what to think of the big guy. Schrodinger's creepy white box was still in question, but nobody seemed to want to translate what they had found to him. No, he fended off those thoughts. There was no box. There was no severed pieces of flesh. He hadn't thrown anything into the trash because it didn't happen. He had decided it so. It was done and it was over, and he was going to never, ever, ever, ever think about it again. And so, he didn't. The empty mall was drenched in darkness and faded moonlight, each of the various stores and mini-games hiding in groups together, forming more of a lumpy shadow on either side of the long hall that they were making their way down. The fountain spouted steady streams of water, gallons of copper coins winking up at him under the rippling surface, the clean white tiles glistening as the staff bots mopped up the sticky grime that had built up over the day. The staff bots kept on tricking him into thinking that someone was following them, the extra movement and noises causing him to jump, the bottoms of his feet growing cold of sweat. It made him feel like he was missing something, making him aware of how easily it would be to follow them like this, hiding in plain sight. The animatronics were all keeping their mouths shut so far, still a bit stunned from the experience in the scrap pit. Gregory stayed close to Freddy, keeping his eyes away from the others. No matter how much he reminded himself that they were good now, he was still flinching uneasily away from them, expecting for them to change their mind and descend on him any moment now. Chica stepped a bit closer to Gregory, beginning to reach to him before snapping her arms back to her sides. Gregory pretended not to notice, coughing. Then, with a sigh, Chica finally spoke up. Hey, Gregory? He jumped, looking up at her. Despite having a new beak, it was still unsettling to see the thin cracks in her faceplate. I'm sorry, but I can't take this anymore, she finally forced out, breaking the silence. I'm really, really sorry for trying to eat you. I totally understand why you crushed me. I was being really scary and demonic and completely insane, and... Everything started to spill out into the open after that, finally free from the awkward restraints. She took an unsteady step towards him on her new leg. Oh my gosh, not being able to talk was awful. I couldn't apologize or explain anything. I have so much to catch up on. She picked at the feathery boa that hung from her neck, saying, but of course, the most important thing is I'm sorry for trying to eat you, Gregory. I must have frightened you so much. It's all right, kind of, Gregory said, rubbing his bandaged arm. I'm just glad you're not trying to anymore. He still couldn't bear to look at her. Danger radiated from her every move, her hooked beak, her scaly claws, everything. She was so large, she could squash him by accident, each step she took sending tiny vibrations through the floor, making the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. Oh, and I'm so glad that we're all together again, she clapped, turning her attention back to the mole. It's been so long since we've been like this. Now that she was addressing the others, she began to sign what she said in ASL so DJ could see. DJ stopped, signing something back to her. Well, yeah, but we do that 'cause we're co-workers. Chico waved that off, still repeating what she said in sign language for him. This time we're going on a mission together. We're about to go arrest Vanessa, Freddie said, ears drooping. She's our friend. It's not really supposed to be... Chica started laughing a bit too hard, saying, but, no, that's... She ruffled her feathers and forced out, we'll be okay. I'm sure we'll get an explanation out of her and have all this cleaned up in no time. She's probably just... An unsteady silence lodged between them. Freddie eventually whispered to her, Chica, you don't have to keep pretending like... Look, I shouldn't have... I wish I was just... His words stumbled to a stop, the conversation progressively making less and less sense to Gregory. Did something happen between them? He looked to Roxy and Monty, but they looked just as uncomfortable as Freddie and Chica now were. For a moment, it looked like Chica might burst into tears. Instead, she fell back on... Well, I'll be okay, completely okay. Until we find Vanessa, we can just be together again. This can still be nice. I missed you all so much. We hardly talk anymore. Chica laughed nervously, tearing out several feathers from her arm warmers, her voice hitching. Chica's right, Roxy said, puffing up her chest. It'll probably be fine by the end of the night. We've gotten through worse. Like what? Chica asked. Jerry, Roxy snorted. Chica giggled again, but this time it felt more natural. We just need to think of the positives, Chica continued. Like, hey, is the fight between you and Monty over? You two aren't arguing at all right now. Roxy curled up her nose, crossing her arms across her chest. Yeah, 'cause I'm ignoring him. Look, I tried, Monty protested, throwing his hands up in the air. What do you want me to do? Pull a new hand and eye out of my nose? Roxy's new eye wasn't working at its full capacity quite yet. She had told them that she could tell the difference between light and dark, but had no colors at all, and could only vaguely sense movements. She was still pretty blind, but was growing a little more confident, still holding on to Chica to stay on track. I'm sure you all did your best, Freddie reassured, still calm despite everything. We stand a chance against Vanessa now, and I'm sure that you'll all have new eyes and hands after all of this is over. After all this is over. Something about that phrase shocked Gregory. So much had happened in the last several hours. It was almost impossible to think that the world still existed outside of this place. And maybe we can get to know Moon, too, Chica went on, still desperately forcing on the smile. I know literally nothing about you. Moon didn't respond, seeming completely distracted. He was watching something farther off in the mall, leaving a blank silence. Roxy frowned sourly. Jeez, she was just trying to be nice. Chica just laughed again and repeated, Oh, we'll be okay. This can still be fun. We can... She helplessly trailed off into, I'm sorry. No, you're fine, Roxy reassured, nudging her with her tail. Moon's just being weird. The noise of their conversation was obliterating any chance that they had at a surprise attack. I swear if all of you don't shut up. Gregory wanted to tell Chica to be quiet, but he was too afraid of retaliation. He was sure that Freddy wouldn't hurt him, but the others... Still, the most disturbing thing about all the noise that they were making was the lack of a response. The majority of them all stretched out before them, all of the lights off, the darkness only penetrated by the staff bot's glowing eyes and the little clips of moonlight shining in from the ceiling, splashing every surface with dark blue tones. His eyelids stuck together with each blink, his various cuts all stinging with soreness, body practically screaming with exhaustion. And yet Gregory had never felt more alert in his life. The staff bots were much more frequent in number in this area, at least 3 to each attraction, sweeping the floors and replacing empty aisles of merchandise, their empty, star-shaped eyes glancing over to them as they emerged from the shadows. The staff bots' gazes were lingering on them a bit too long for Gregory's liking. Maybe it was just him being paranoid, but he swore that something changed in them whenever they registered the group's presence. Maybe they twitched back a centimeter or tilted their heads a fraction of an inch, stopping their scrubbing for just a moment. Gregory met the gaze of one of them, deciding to hold it in some strange impulse to challenge the fears creeping up behind him. The staff bot just stared and stared. Its 3-fingered hand kept on wiping the glass, but its star-shaped eyes stayed on Gregory. After all this is over, we should really hang out more, Chica chattered on. I want to go back to how it was before, She trailed off, everyone else looking away uncomfortably with a quick, sorry. No, it's okay. Roxy's voice got quieter, leaning a little bit closer as she didn't want the others to hear. You're doing good. I'm sorry if I'm stupid sometimes, Chica muttered, pulling a few more feathers out. I really didn't want it to happen. I was just trying to help. Roxy quickly stopped her, nudging her snout against Chica's beak. It wasn't your fault. It was his. I shouldn't have... Let's just move on from that, okay? I didn't mean it. The secret exchange piqued his curiosity. Gregory was about to question what event they were talking about when... Out of nowhere, a figure lunged out towards him, reaching out to strangle him. Gregory shrieked, tumbling back, falling to the floor, the animatronics around him all screaming as well, DJ bleeding out an explosion of notes like a piano being flipped over. What? What is it? Who's dying? Roxy yelled, tripping over her own tail and falling on top of Monty. Chica! Chica, are you okay? They all stared at the figure, gasping, and slowly realized that it was not Vanessa. It was another staff bot, and it wasn't reaching to strangle him. It was handing a folded piece of colorful paper out to him. Take a map, please, the staff bot said in its soulless voice, staring right through him. Take a map, please, take a map. It's the map bot, Freddy answered Roxy, sighing deeply. Gregory clutched at his chest, swallowing down the shivers running up his back, and took the map. The staff bot turned to the next person, Roxy, and again insisted, take a map, please, take a map. Roxy held out her hand, feeling around through the air, at least a dozen inches in the wrong direction. The bot shoved the paper into her hands. Wow, thanks, she said dryly. I know exactly where I am now. You are welcome, it bleeped back. The staff bot refused to leave until everyone had taken a map, rolling away on its wheels proudly once it had completed its quest. They looked out at the mall, everyone except for Roxy turning their maps around, trying to find out which way was up. The place looked bigger than Gregory had originally thought. There were several more smaller sections for secondary characters, like Mr. Hippo. It all branched off into other owned establishments, even stuff for Baby's Circus recreated here with animatronics not nearly as advanced as the main cast. Oh no, Chica said. This is a lot of mall. Where do we go? Roxy asked. How about this way? Monty decided, pointing. I'm not asking you, I'm asking Freddy, she snapped back. He fell quiet again with a quick, "Sorry." "Moon, where do you think we should go?" Freddy asked. Moon didn't react. He wasn't even looking at his map. "Moon?" Freddy tapped him. Moon jumped quite a lot, whirling around. "Huh?" "Why would he know where to go?" Roxy asked, still sour. "He has the most advanced security mode. He deals with criminals out here all the time," Freddy shrugged. "And he knows Vanny the best." "I don't..." Moon backed up as the attention was rounded on him, seeming quite overwhelmed. I don't know where Vanny is hiding. She's not just another criminal." "See, he can't help," Roxy said. "Well, what do you think we should do?" Freddy asked. It didn't sound like a challenge, more of an open suggestion. "We should..." Roxy scrambled to find an answer. "Well, we should probably all split up and stuff, I guess. And I vote that Moon stays behind." "Wait, why?" Moon asked. "You're probably not built strong enough for this," Roxy explained, tail bristling. "You just play around with a bunch of dumb kids all day." "What did you just say to me?" Moon said, finally reacting properly to something for the first time in over an hour. Roxy buffered in confusion. That you should stay behind? You're built like a stick figure, man. I don't think you'd be able to help out much. You've got the easiest job out of all of us." Now that was enough to set him off. "Don't you dare underestimate what Sunny has to deal with," Moon hissed, absolutely exploding with noise after such a long silence. "We have the toughest job out of all of you combined." "How?" Roxy asked. "Is it really that hard to play hide and seek all day?" "Okay, you clearly have no clue what it's like to take care of 40 or more rowdy kids all at the same time," Moon said, voice building in frantic bursts. "Sun is an expert at his job. Do you have any idea how hard it is to keep track of all of them? You ever try to keep them all from breaking their little necks while they scream and climb all over you and drool in your face?" DJ was blinking down at them in confusion, having no context for the sudden arm flailing that Moon was doing. He signed something, but everyone was too fixated on Moon to answer. "Look, I love each and every one of them so much, but..." He was looking a bit crazed now, hooked hands scraping on either side of his head, ranting on and on. "They want to break the rules, they want to eat glitter glue and jump off the playground and pull my arm off!" He waved the arm in question, his left one. "You know why I have a bad arm? This arm gets pulled off several times a month. It's always the left one for some reason. Ever since the first time it happened, they just thought it was so hilarious, and Sun didn't want to ruin their fun, so they just kept on daring each other to do it, and now the bad arm is never going to be replaced the same again. They can smell weakness. They're crazy!" Moon stopped, eye twitching violently, the arm still elevated as he gasped in and out to cool his systems. "Moon, are you okay?" Freddy asked slowly. "No!" Moon shook his head, recovering. "Yes, I meant yes. We're okay, we're fine." "Okay, that's nice. Moonface here is still unhinged." Roxy started laughing, pulling at her pointed ears. "And best of all, he's probably going to give us over to Vanessa." No, we're okay, Annie," Chica broke in, fiddling anxiously with their arm warmers. "We'll be okay, guys. We can make it through it. Everything's..." No, we're not," Monty yelled. "For once, Roxy is right. I want out. This is hopeless. We clearly still can't work together. We're probably just gonna get ourselves killed. We should all just hide in our rooms until morning. There's no point in looking for James if we all die before finding him." DJ signed some sort of question, but Freddy couldn't translate fast enough, instead stepping forward to try and break up the fight. "Hey, don't yell at Chica! She's trying to be nice!" Roxy snarled with surprising ferocity. "Shut up, Monty! Nobody likes you!" No, Annie, please don't fight!" Chica whimpered. "Please, we have to stop doing this!" Alarm flashed through Gregory as he recognized what was going on. He began to scramble out of the way, lifting his arms to protect his face. Yelling adults. No, the adults were angry, the grown-ups are fighting, they were fighting, run, get out of there, get away from them, hide! Gregory started crying. He didn't realize it was happening before the hot tears reached his chin, quickly beginning to hyperventilate, the yelling pounding into his eardrums. And, as his thoughts returned back to Vanessa and what she could be doing to James, it was just too much. Gregory's face contracted, a sob ringing out. He tried desperately to stop before anyone noticed, covering his face. DJ, however, saw that and immediately slammed down every note that he could produce, the harsh noise hitting the others hard enough to snap them out of it, looking down to where DJ was pointing. The yelling wavered as they saw him. Gregory tried and failed to stammer out apologies, backing away, his face burning in embarrassment. I'm sorry, he said, clamping his teeth closed. I'll stop. No, Gregory, it's okay, Freddy tried, returning to him and trying to comfort him. You're gonna be alright. Moon threw up his hands, saying, Well, great, now look what you did. What I did, Roxy snapped. You're the one who started a rant about drool. Everyone stop! Please, just stop! Freddy's yells smothered their bickering, everyone snapping their mouths closed. The big metal bear leaned down, holding onto Gregory while glaring at them all over his shoulder, ears flicking in frustration. You're scaring Gregory, he scolded. Gregory and his brother's lives are on the line. We have to get to Vanessa before morning. If you want to just yell at each other again, you can go back to your rooms. If you actually want to help Gregory, then be quiet and start helping. The harshness was just enough to stop them, the embarrassment rippling uncomfortably through the air. Gregory didn't want to look at them. He kept his head turned away, still fighting back sniffles and staring blearily at the tile floor, his face red. Freddy stood up, hoisting him up into his arms. It was okay. It would be okay. Freddy was here. We don't have enough time to search together, Freddy began, voice serious. Roxy is right. We're too loud altogether. We should go in pairs to search for where she's hiding. Roxy, you go with Monty. Chica goes with me. And Moon should stay here with Gregory. What? Gregory snapped his head back up at him. Freddy looked down on him with one eye, worry written all over his face, saying, I don't want you to be there when we find Vanessa. Moon is the best person to keep her from getting you while we search. But, Moon started, I'm supposed to look for Vanny. I can catch her. We all have our own security modes, even though they're not as advanced as yours, Freddy said, demonstrating by holding up his big paw, his cyan talons extending into view. And we're a lot bigger and heavier than her. I want you to protect Gregory if Vanessa tries to get to him next. He needs you to keep him safe. Can you do that? Moon started to open his mouth, then closed it, nodding with a sigh, not seeming to have the energy to argue. Freddy set him down, letting him go to Moon. Gregory shivered under the robot's watch, shuffling his feet. Moon started to say something, but drifted off instead, hooks curled close to his chest. Can't I go with Chica or you? Roxy complained. Chica and you are still a little hurt, Freddy explained. And Monty would probably get crushed by Chica if she falls. Monty looked like he was going to argue, but then looked up to Chica, who was an entire head taller than him. He nodded. Besides, you two need to learn how to work together, Freddy added. This is something serious. Can I trust you to put your argument aside? Neither Monty nor Roxy seemed to want to be the one to answer first, but eventually Monty nodded. Roxy sighed, begrudgingly accepting her fate. Freddy turned, both signing to DJ and saying aloud, I'm sorry, but you're too big and loud for this. You should go back to the main lobby and keep watch, to make sure that Vanessa doesn't go hide back there. DJ signed something back, his smile drooping. No, you don't have to stay in your tunnels, Freddy said and signed at the same time. Just keep an eye out for Vanessa. DJ nodded, still a little upset. Chica signed something to him, moving over to give his big face a hug, which seemed to lighten his sadness a bit. Me and Chica can cover the left parts of the mall, and Roxy and Monty can get to the right parts, Freddy went on. And let's try and be more quiet, okay? We can't see Vanessa. Her suit makes her invisible to us. We'll have to listen for her instead. Wait, what? Monty yelled. She's invisible? Oh, yeah, Freddy explained. I think she programmed us to not see her while she's in her suit. He waved that away, saying, but don't worry, the suit makes about as much noise as we do. I'm sure that we can find her, as long as we're stealthy. Oh, that's great. We're really good at stealth. Being quiet is our specialty, Roxy nodded, smiling too widely. Freddy chose to ignore her, saying, Good luck, everyone. Watch each other's backs. With that, they separated, the two teams heading off into the empty mall. Gregory scooted closer to Moon, the warmth leaving with Freddy. The staff bots watched them from the shadows, unblinking. Fazbear Entertainment work email. To Jeremy Miller, from Carson Brown. Subject, collection of Bonnie's incident reports from January 1st to January 20th, 2082. Bonnie did not finish preparing the bowling alley by 9 a.m. because he didn't awake to the sound of the alarm. He was disciplined. Bonnie made a miscalculation and threw a bowling ball into an adjacent lane. He was disciplined. Bonnie ran into a customer because he wasn't looking where he was going. He was disciplined. Bonnie continuously made mistakes with the weight of requested bowling balls. He was disciplined. Bonnie played 3 wrong notes during the Showtime performance. He was disciplined. Bonnie did not finish preparing the bowling alley by 9 a.m. because he didn't awake to the sound of the alarm. He was disciplined. Bonnie was caught sleeping on the job. He was disciplined. Bonnie was caught trying to sneak into Freddy's room. He was disciplined. Bonnie backtalked his handler. He was disciplined. Bonnie appeared zoned out and didn't respond to a group of children trying to get his attention. He was disciplined. Bonnie collapsed and injured 2 children in the process. He was disciplined. Bonnie cried in front of customers. He was disciplined. Bonnie played 5 wrong notes and then stopped playing near the end of a Showtime performance. He was disciplined. Bonnie got into an argument with a customer. It was disciplined. Bonnie gave the wrong type of pizza to a party of kids. It was disciplined. Bonnie snapped at a customer after they pointed out a mistake that it made in bowling shoe size. It was disciplined. Bonnie tried to get out of taking pictures of fans after a Showtime performance because apparently it wanted to go to bed earlier. It was disciplined. Bonnie argued with an angry customer, then tried to hide from its handler. It was disciplined. Bonnie fell asleep on the job. It was disciplined. Bonnie began crying and tearing at its ears in front of a party of kids, who all began screaming. It was disciplined. Bonnie abandoned its post and was found hiding with Freddy in the arcade. It was disciplined. Bonnie yelled at a child for pulling on its ears. It was disciplined. Bonnie yelled at a customer who asked to speak with his manager, then tried to hide from its handler. It was disciplined. Bonnie started yelling at children after they threw pizza at the back of his head. It was disciplined. Bonnie passed out after only 2 hours of work and landed on the ankle of a teenager, breaking it. It was disciplined. Bonnie began to melt down and tear at its ears again after children teased it. It was disciplined. Bonnie refused to leave its room in the morning hours. It was disciplined. But it's still not leaving its room. Thank goodness it's almost the end of the month. I decided to give this to you early. You got any idea what to do? Hey everyone, thanks for getting to the end of the episode, woo! Sorry, this one wasn't really scary. I wasn't really wanting to make it scary. I just sort of wanted to show the personalities and the interactions between the different characters, because until now we haven't really gotten to see them a lot, other than just being completely insane and trying to kill Gregory. So I wanted to sort of break chapter here to actually get to know them a little bit, so, yeah, that's it. We are approaching the point of a hiatus, but we're not there yet. But since we're getting a little bit closer, I think it's a good idea to, like, keep you guys updated on what exactly I'm doing over here, so you don't think that I'm just being lazy and not continuing to work and stuff if the episodes start to have to be, like, once every 2 weeks or once every 3 weeks or just whenever I complete them. We are not at the hiatus yet. It's about 3 weeks away, though. It's something where I can't really predict how fast I'll be able to stay ahead of it because I'm continuously making new episodes every day. Usually it takes about 2 weeks to voice act, edit, add sound effects, and finalize one episode, mostly because, you know, I have other things going on in my life, like college and stuff, and that stops me from working on it 24/7 like I would like to. But still, I think that what I'll do is just release an episode once I'm done with it, so there won't be a huge several months gap between the end of the already completed episodes and the next ones. I'll just be posting stuff the moment that it's finished. I think that's a better idea, just so you guys don't lose interest from it taking too long for me to update. But anyway, I'll keep you guys updated on what chapters are like already completed. Right now I have everything up to chapter 16 officially like completed and able to post once the time comes. I have chapters 17, 18, 19, and 20 already voice acted but not edited or like having any sound effects. So they're not done yet, except they're still like in the oven right now. So I think I'll be able to keep ahead of the game for a while, because I mean, it'll take like 3 more weeks to get to a hiatus if I don't do anything, but you know, I can't see that far into the future, so I don't know if any crazy life stuff will happen that'll lead to posting once every 2 weeks instead of once every week. But whatever, I'll be giving you guys everything that I have, and if we do meet like the point where I run out of time and don't have any pre-prepared episodes to post, I promise you right now there is no way that anything is going to stop me from completing this project. It might take a little while, but I am not giving up on this, and I just hope that I can like keep up for as long as possible, so all of you don't have to see how difficult it is to make this stuff and how long it takes to make each episode. Anyway, I think that's it. Bye! Thanks for watching! Woo!